Tamolani, taking on to send the Ligu and Nino, the Pel and current chase and Tangi to shoot the curse the Shuina, and Manzugi told of the Nishu put on the contest shame, and Nishu put a Yicha curse hungry me, and Nishu put it to the Lamrim Chura, and they must say any toll of Damda, toll of Damela, toll of contest, Damgu me to the chugging curry, kitchen the Tadanche and Demase and it told Jenny, Toloblani, Nishipu Kaplani, Tom Tura, Tolobla, Digolani to Deja Dani, Kandechik, Tivum, that between you to stand again, it's and thing on the Joshina that thing, Toma the Kargorana and Tolop, another mixing Tolop Mido career. That Tolop Chidangi, your Tuchena to go Panana, Arila, do Ari Misela, mixing you Tolop pension, a community college, want to that Chigga below Purane, and say Toche Medani, Chedan your Tuchia, Shaura, Ani Tambudi University chair, and you are the liberal scholarship. Subadi Arts College, Tichalane Single Sex Colleges, Tichalane Religious Affiliated Colleges, Tichalane Specialized Mission Colleges. I pay truth naneta. Tomorrow University to Tishiganata, University pay Lopra Chamber chair, Dita Member Lopra Lake Middle Period and Loptena, Lopra Chamber Chikla, Hansangi, Tagios, Kalota, Tagio Gita, to gain the Karina Tagia, Penchana. Lopez de la bachelor chair, master degree chair, any doctoral program chair. There's any Lopez de pay Lopu Hong Fan Mango chair, there's a mind bar, Chinda chair, you should. China Chitang, the university now, and part of the Chua, and Penchashana, Harvard University, pay University Chamber, the Harvard now, undergraduate, which is Harvard College, Kitty cannot Chuma Tongida, Thomas, Chuma Shunda, Open China, Harvard Kennedy School. Kitty cannot Tim Jana, Harvard Law School, Kitty Mendani, made a cherry doy Jana, Harvard Medical School, and that the college, University now, local Chung in the Yachotra. Liberal Arts College did that, I did know the Tolop Chamon and Chuma. Jumjeto Chikalana, Tolop de any Lobde Mampochi Kang in a chane, any delay ratang, inchi sick depend on a holistic child, a holistic changing of child chedoni, can K in a day, big get up, the Lugu Jan a day, and it's Harry the Angdi, Chizo Harry, Tama Jan, and Shinekra, Chumalopte, Luchik Dringland, the Lopte Mindo Shan, and Snakera and Lopte. Ritola Nekangi, Tart to PM, but Yamana Kangi, Mutin, that kind of the Chikla pension, Lollet Three round at Tonantio, and I think look at how much judge and snake can look Lollet any Jaw and Haruske, Mur to Walana, looked in the Jan Chani, media, look to Denny, that Chokan than it is look this nutrition and look washing it to Chag, then Mur to Chedan, liberal art policy. Said under liberal arts college to give me a graduate school or a show and a master degree to Chidoni, 30 number. Chedani liberal arts college, the page you didn't look to choose count the Latina, the Legita Chujuchi, that Gelania Betawaya was Swagini, co-option boche, and go bet you to be up when we share the pension liberal arts college to year doctor to McAllister College to and Dr. Dr. Hasheni, Ballistic College, St. Olaf College, the college children do Lobra changes in Shillington any to Kanya Shure. And art college shown at the art branch at art betagio of the photography, the remote share, and it's Tabana, Tologeni, looking at each other to pay government chair. The conduct did art like the pay track you into the Tolaya on college mixer Euro. Dugia Konzugi Tolom Dugi, the bachelor degree in a associate degree in a container that Chitanda around art college mixer you're sharing. And kitchen bush a single sex colleges like the Gala put the promo put the more put the more local sudo arila benches na ta kare promo chigi local and the benches na Wellesley College in Massachusetts la me around local jungle hala ani digital religious affiliated college university the local mangboche the follow ya nyama ni ched chugyu in the la jawa igyo 아니 제단에 이내 최규의 담미게 이슈 최규로 다 되게 되어 있나요? 굉장히는 기타 마시니 또 lokdo ching lokdo la tam kini kikaba do marwa kha tu gita chulu remela ni lokdo chawo de ani thama this specialized mission college la specialized mission college de kind kitchen show ena ta nga jo pheri into shira jogo mani te che ko kitchen kind tong sana adi na la thanyu miri yure adi na la miri yang sha wa yoro ke ma je miri na ko da miri thanyu miri Latino or Hispanic do da ju chi do khwa tu gi da miri do da khop da she to ne khop yer ke da chu khwa so che do lo pra do da but historically black colleges and university do da and thoro ba Hispanic serving institution do che da dinde do chen da lockdown che lockdown window wa da ari la tholo dinde do shi re shwe that dine kechisu kan da 중앙 lockdown da me chi do ni kitchen bottom come down so they can look back 100 university in liberal arts any current any single fact college khari join ata so these thola sometimes kitchen bore and digital kitchen khalana can look then kare jahan if you want to study like computer science like you like current any computer science look university chiputa mar department computer science ya ko me lo le thing ya ko na tiene que ni shu pina ya por kiji lobre chita ya po che ne kyangi lole there department de pe kyo na ani kyangi shu pina ke pham da ani adu thama de kiji khala na develop tamala financial aid da ani lobre ki fee structure de ya po me na ani shu pe ke kebe mi da che da ne lobre khala ni shu pina ya po na kiji kyan de lobre ki ne ani lobre ki ani khala ne rongyu ya po phu na 아니 진짜 스톤에 다 그냥 삼로 담으로 따여라. 다디 캐치보 된로 스톤 레스터 아니 녜 촌에네 다라이 아니 디길라
Okay. The thing nghe ha ji joshi de khar cha do shuai na ni ngone the ari tholop ko lang ju ke ja pyang ushi re ni ani ari tholop la khandes apply chu me la shura undi irisha ani thing ngarang ne ani inge thone workshop chu samsra ani chiwa na khati ne hesitate ma cha che an la chat na ma chu kun sare okay, so you've heard a lot about Common App, and so today I'm going to introduce you to Common App. So Common App, this is the first image. This is the homepage of Common App, the thing you see when you first Google www.commonapp.com. And basically, Common App is a website where you can apply to a lot of colleges in the US, and it's like the all-in-one hub process where you put all your recommendation letters, your grades, you invite your teachers, you submit all your essays, you choose the colleges that you want to apply to, and all of that. And today I'm gonna do a brief demonstration of how Common App looks through Sontsa's account, and I'm gonna talk about some of the biggest components of Common App. So basically, I think Common App has mainly 5 components that we have to focus very carefully on. The first one is something called the personal statement. The personal statement is basically an essay that you write, which is about 650 words. Common App gives you about 7 prompts, 7 topics that you want to write about. And for Tibetans, the most common is basically when we talk about our identity and how that influences who we are. But you also have 7 other options. And then these questions are almost always very open-ended. So the main purpose of this essay is to give the admission officers a feel of who you are as a person besides your grades. For example, a lot of admission officers say that this is one of the biggest part, if not the biggest part of your Common App application. And for example, I talked a lot about how my Tibetan children's village school experience, my experience in TCV Selakwe compared to my experience in United World College. And so basically you can write about anything that you think is important to you. And it's very important that you put in a lot of time for this. And then I'll talk about more about this essay later. And then another section is the counselor section. So for your college application process, it is very important that you have a good relationship with your counselor. If you're still in school, then please go talk to your counselor, try to build a good relationship with them. If you're not already in school, and if you have already graduated from high school and you do plan to apply to college in the US, then please reach out to your school's counselor and try to talk to them, share with them, and include them in your college application process. So your counselor basically has three biggest jobs. They're gonna, first of all, upload all your school reports. So report cards, progress reports, and all of that. And then they will also upload all your transcripts, your marks cards. And then your counselor also has to write you a recommendation letter. And this is where it's important that you have a good relationship with your counselor so that they can write a good recommendation for you and so they know what to write. Another very big part of the Common Application process is your extracurricular activities. The Common App gives you an option to add about up to 10 activities that you have, but you don't have to fill in all 10. I would recommend you to put in by your priority list what is most important to you to what is least and which one you hold the biggest roles in. For your college application, if you want to make an impression on the college admission officer, it helps a lot if you have activities that you hold an executive position in. If you're like the leader of the club, or if you're the leader of this project that meant a lot to you, or if you made a club in your school, if you founded a club, if you're the founder. So those types of activities helps a lot. And then you have to write a brief description of the activities. And then you also have the recommendation letters. That's also a part that influences your college application a lot, and you upload that onto your Common App. So basically you invite, most schools requires you to invite about 2 teachers to write recommendation letters for you. And then the teachers will write a recommendation, but you unfortunately won't see what they wrote about you. So it's very important that you know that you have an impression that this teacher will write something good about you, because the university cares a lot about how you've been working in your classroom, how you work with your colleagues, how good of an impression that you have had on your teacher who's been teaching you for 1 year or more. So teachers are very important, and then you should make sure that you ask your teachers beforehand, and I'll show you where you invite your teacher when I'm doing the demonstration later. And then another part is, so there's some other additional, those 4 are the main parts that you have to focus on, but some other parts that you need for your Common Application process to different colleges in the US is number 1, supplemental essays. So the personal statement essay that you wrote, the 650 words that I talked about first, this one is sent to all of your schools. But the supplemental essays is just some specific essays that different colleges that you're applying to requires from you. For example, I applied to about 12 colleges for myself, and then each of these schools required different numbers of supplemental essays. So like, for example, Brown University required about 5 essays, but there are some schools that I applied to that didn't need any essay. So it depends on the school. And when you're writing these, it's very important that you target your essay to the values of the school. What do they consider important? What program do they have that appeals to you that is related to this question, and all of that. And all of those will have different word limits. And then another part is testing. So very fortunately for me and for my year group, we didn't have to do any of these because of COVID. And for you as well, if you're doing it this year, then most schools have already announced testing optional policy, which means that you don't have to submit SAT scores. It is optional if you want to, and if you have good grades, where you feel up to a point where you feel like it will be a very good addition to your college application, then you can submit your SAT scores or TOEFL or Duolingo English test. or many others, but you don't have to. A lot of schools have already announced that you don't have to submit any test scores, which is very good news. So I think right now I'll show you a brief demonstration of what Common App looks like. Can you see the screens? Yeah, okay. So like the picture I had, this is what you see when you first type commonapp.org. And you just create an account over here, and it's very simple, like all other accounts. And if you want to connect your social media, then it's even easier for you. Or your Gmail. So I have here the Common App account of Sontsa that we made, so that we can demonstrate it to you. And this is the dashboard. So first you start with the tab over here that just says Common App. Yeah. So here you put in all of your personal information, a lot of different types, your address, contact information, where you're from, your language, your citizenship, and all that. And I think for Tibetans, we might especially have some bit of confusion over here. So I selected India, but I think for some people, they also choose stateless. So that's up to you and what you think is best for you. But then, so after you put in all these information, these should be relatively simple. Will take you about 15 minutes. You put in all of your family details, your siblings, your parents, or your guardians. And then, so here is the testing I was talking about. So you have an option here, and then you put in all of your schools, all that. So this is the biggest part that I was talking to you about, personal essays. Personal essays. So here I talked about, so Common App has 7 main prompts. 7, yes, 7 main prompts. And then for me, I chose this topic. Some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. I think personally that reflected what I wanted to talk about in my essay, but you can choose any of them. You talk about an accomplishment, event, or any other projects that you've done, or anything. And then, so basically this is what you have for you. And then the next step you could do is go to the tab college search, and you put in your colleges that you want to apply to after you've done all your research based on all the factors that Gyaltsen previously talked about, what type of college you want to apply to, what majors are you considering, and then after you've narrowed it down and you have decided on the colleges that you want to apply to, you select here. So for example, if you choose Brown University, you can add Brown University, and then this will then be added to your My College list. So you'll see it here on your dashboard, the first one. So you can Common App, I think, not Common App allows you to select multiple colleges, but I personally wouldn't recommend more than 10 because it's just a lot of work writing all the essays and all that. But you basically add all of your colleges, and then you'll see it in your dashboard. After that, you can go to My Colleges and you can see your universities over here. So since I've added Brown here, you can go to Brown, and then you have all the details about Brown University and what it requires. So you have standardized test policy. As you can see, it's flexible, so it's optional for you. And then other stuff that you need are your school report, council recommendation, all of that. And then you can see here, it requires the personal essay, the 650 words. So this college here, so how you invite your recommenders, your teachers, is you go to here. So there's some options, some things that you have to do. But then, 1 second. So first of all, you just fill out all these information, what when do you plan to start, and all of that. And then you have the questions here section, the supplemental essays that I was talking about. So Brown requires you to write multiple. So it talks about some of the specific questions about college, why it interests you, and you have to fill all of these out very carefully. And then Yeah, so you do the whole process together, all over with all of your colleges, and then you submit them when you're all done. And then basically, I think this is the most important things that you have to know about Common App. And then if you have any questions, please reach out to any of us. But I mean, we're all students from this generation. I'm sure we all won't have that much trouble figuring out websites like our grandmas might. But like I said, it should be pretty simple. So you go all of these and then you can either Google questions, which is also very helpful, what I did because I was so lost when I first started out. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to any of us. So I think that should be with about our Common App. Okay, can you see the slides again?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I was talking about the personal statement, and I'll just to give you some more information about it. Like I said, all the questions are going to be very open-ended, and I put the one that I used here. When you're writing your essays, you have to always ask yourself, does your essay demonstrate your core values? Does it represent who you are, who your character is, what type of a person you are, and then what your personality is? Do you get a feel of who you are from your essay? One thing that helps is you can let your close friends or people you trust, people who know you, read your essay, and they can let you know what they think about it. One helpful resource that I used when I was writing my essay was the collegeessayguide.com. One second. Okay, so this is one of the resources I used, collegeessayguide.com, but you have to do your research because there is a lot of resources out there like this website, and they all give you a lot of information about how you can start writing your personal essay, how you can structure them, different ways you could approach writing this essay and all of that. And then a very important point is to always ask for feedback. You can talk to your teachers, or you can talk to close friends or people who have written essays before, people who have been successful in applying to US colleges. You can ask them to read your essay and ask for their feedback. Personally, I had a few people who helped give me feedback when I was writing my own essay, and it helped a lot in making how it ended up to be in the last draft. And then editing, that's very important. You won't write your perfect essay just from the first start. Personal statement essay holds a lot of weightage in your Common App. So you have to make sure that you put in the best efforts you have, and then keep on editing it. Start brainstorming right now and start putting down ideas right now so you can already start, because most of the deadlines will be in about December and you have a few months. So you can edit it, work on your essay, and make sure that you are proud of what you end up submitting. And then incorporating your uniqueness. So I know yesterday they talked about how you can bring out your Tibetan identity in your essay, and I personally think that gives a lot of extra uniqueness into your essay, because people, I mean, you have to make sure that you make an impression on the admission officers, and I feel like the Tibetan identity personally helped me a lot. But yeah, so you can talk about that, or you can talk about passions that you might have. Some people can talk a lot about how their passions impacted them and who they are, and that also helps a lot. You can talk about, for example, like I talked about TCB experience, or your any school actually in India. It's very unique and very different from what a lot of people in the US go through. So that would be something different from what majority of the participants are writing about. So you can talk about that. And then, like I said, start brainstorming for your essay now. You can never be too early. Another, just some brief things, recommendation letters should be asked for as early as possible, because your teacher might be busy. They might have other things that they're working on. They might have other recommendation letters to write. So you don't want not to have a recommendation letter, and you also don't want them to be late, or you don't want your teacher to be annoyed with you asking very late and then end up not writing as good as you would want. Yeah. And then a good relationship with your school counselor, very important. And then finally reach out for help from people who have gone through the process. Personally, I was very confused when I first started applying for my schools, and I think me reaching out to people helped me a lot. A lot of alumni, a lot of people. There are a lot of people you can reach out to, and of course, like any of the members of Sontsa also will be very glad to help you. And I think that would be a very good idea. Yeah. So I think that is about it. Yes, thank you. Yarphel, do you want to start?
Hello. Okay. Thank you, Diki. 정말로 잘 아니 나랑 같이 다른 시에기 주시디 인터뷰 제도 아니 나랑 벽에 강도도 개인의 인게 식된 디스 도지당 정서를 제가 공개면 슈슈이 그다음에 아니 계시 지워로요 아니 chat 되잖아 셔셔 나도 좀 가지 술단에 도래 야미나 chat 나루셔나 나도 지워들 랭게게 주고 니 다음에 사주들라 말해 당보들 인터뷰 라디 딱그랑기 college process 나로라 하장기 계제 못 샤워래 계제 결혼서 가상기 그래 레저드 레어에나 그 가상인 당보 레저 레어에나 그도 숨가기 인터뷰 라디 인지미 제때어라 아니 인터뷰 라디다 제가 마세 아니 가진 때에 오늘 가던 아들이 디스시게 인터뷰 라디 통마들라 아니 그런 꼭더 더럽 관대지 이번에 인터뷰 라디 때어라 대마세 인터뷰 라디 때나 가르쳤어요 쇼에나 그런 기타 커뮤니티까지 퍼스널 스테이트먼트 찍고지 많이 봐 그런 라신이 오미 관대 주면 삼로단다 관대 주면 대마세 그런 기타 깨시다 로라 마스네다 어디 때에 가지다 계정 보스 동기들아니 인터뷰 라디 때나다 단대 촬영 알아라다 계산마도 경험도 미세 제 아니메이션이 아니 Todashina, it allows you to build on your application, as you can see here. And you de la kabre tolo khashe di inji interview la di to ro jure ani cheranye shu gabe kap application college application de te de khash ko tolo khashe ki interview la di inji len to achire yong college khashe ki da inji len ko du ko mede samba ni kesi kyorang ki interview ji len ba na 교랑기다 롭다 톨롭라인제 다 교랑기다 임프레션이 아버지 때 투르요 니 나랑 게르겐 시어나 나랑 인터뷰 때니 하장기 캡사로서 쉬에라니 아니 다 나랑 인터뷰 된 제델라니 고랑기 갑도라 오퍼레 애드미션 오퍼레 가지다 인데 당 로엘레스라 제가 인터뷰를 이렇게 교랑서 렘바이나 아니 캡사마도 경제 말에 쉬에이 아니 타메타제델라 아니 니 계제슈드 가르 통구도 쉬어나 아니 교랑 인터뷰를 렘바이나 인터뷰 라디 렘바이난 케라 다 도디 로요네 지워 로요네니 차장 카리갑도 콘솔라다 계제 제이도 좀 콘솔기 렌 딱다시테 야메나 렌 데테마투나 콘솔이다 카운트도다 렌지게 베전 치레요 안 베전디 치도 좀만이 교수게 제어디 고르스 말니 로브라디다 교랑기 칼로리 교랑티 스콜 졸업디다 시리스 넥스는 임프레션이요 야가마도 심바케 리투마레 라이라니 제다니 인터뷰 라디다 ये पर तो लैंग्वेज हालांकि हेचे बोरे नि वेयर टू नेविगेट लदा था इंटरव्यू ले दिता खंदे रोजी खने दिचो में मोमा दोय माचिना को थोलो मांच लोपटा लोपटा चिक चिक ले ने नि कोजो जे करे मीट थातोला नि 인터뷰 랭게르요 이니 다다 내용기 게네 니 상마 온라인 찾아서 봐 아니 더 온라인 어포인트먼트 슈라 니 온디다 간데로 시고메 거시에라 니 당보들라니 가상 계시 민 당보나 건조 송어래 안 단다 고네 라이 계시 결혼수다 톨롭 도저로 지요에나 톨롭 거에네 온디 있다 이메일 서브스크립션 체디 하장이 계시 보시에요 계시 결혼기 이메일 서브스크라이브 체에나 건조기다 니를 업데이트 단 때문에 계시 인터뷰도 요에나 건조기 인터뷰 요도라니요 아니 단념으로 당겨지나요 안 세라 당시에 이모디 이메일 디 하장기 계시 보셔야더라 대마세 카브레 톨롭 간데지 이메일에 수수지 자네 쉬라 웹사이트 website nanglo la admissions la ni page loga ji tengeriyo ni admissions la di page loga nanglo la kisi kyora zo wa te ba na ani interview booking che dan tema se da interview de khadi me cha sa sta yore ani 단당 아주 어리게지 돌업도 되지만이 주주 정말 어리게지 주주 나트지만이 겨가 주주를 규례되니 그런 기계로 샤디오 쉐라 아니 카브레 카데로 용시나 아니 거기 자기 나로 때 말이 이메일 나로 당기 말이요 되게 자만이 수수게 체레 수수게 개인디 칼라니 그런 조이다 admissions office 임바이네레 admissions officer 임바이네 컨트롤 태가 이메일 메뉴니 저시나 거기 인터뷰 디다 TC 레슈에라니 인터뷰 레디 저와이나니 경마도 계산 요마레 건 쉐이 아니 don't stress out interviews are really chill 인터뷰 레디다 하장기다 나다 하장 요약 기후로 중수 인터뷰 레디 때 지워보라 때 open ended 요래 아니 next slide 니 나랑 게르면데다 인터뷰 레디 때당 갈다 티 스테시로 겨와나 당보들다 미강데라도 니 be yourself 레다 당보 당사 제다 주주 관대 주면 어디 뛰어야지 하장이 개체 보통도 가서는 나라도 상마다 미 찍네 찍바도니 핀지 타데로 저라다 we are all unique in our way 니 온디 교란주다 하장이 뛰어야지 니 개체 보통도 들어 테마세 기지 준도 치어나 니 교란지마 경마도 심박해라 이 말이야 아니 니와디다 하장이 계제부 제도 아니 디 계층부 차고에 겸세데 걸려있는 계제 교랑이다 인터뷰디 마정이네 니 콜리지디 간데메 리서치 치 콜리지디다 가와르도 콜리지디다 네당 간데스도 콜리지디 디파트먼트 간데도 니다 콜리지디다 니르 스튜던트 라이프 간데도 저 계제 때와이나 아니 저 수술하다 도과에네 독지 마게 토린 독지디 마에서 뭐 인터뷰 거기 계제 현저히 독지디 마시와나니 impression 야마도 심박하고 좀 말이 쉬어라 제자니 extensive research about the college 톨업 디고라 extensive research 제디 얘다 오늘을 하장이 개체 보통도 언디 college application 찍고지 말해 정말 밑에나 인터뷰 컨텐츠 지어봐야는 디 하장이 개체 보스래라 테마세 교조 리서치 주제 선반이 수수다 college 강진의 동에 두도 차게 가도랬다 테마세 college 디다 그런 톨업디 간대지 하고서 아니 톨업디 꼴라니 소소다 시행을 참아요 아니 휴구지가 지나 개체 못 상비도 가능해요 아니 인터뷰로 마동에 있는 인데로 쳐야 아니 하장기 로라고 쉬래 아니 시와들라니 라도 인터뷰 라들 계속 새거야도 신앙계 와도 교수 말이 쉬라 니 지와 상마 빼 오pen ended 요래 페다차샤나 니에지 인터뷰나 알게 가르게 했잖아 if you can travel back in time who would you like to meet and why 송사 디디서 바다 코즈이다 교랑이 시주 강래베 칼로레 퍼스펙티브 시네리 니 교랑이다 칼로레 남유 자샤게 삼로 당다쇼라 디조데 니 베전 쇼라 안 디디서 바다 칼로레 지와델라요 렌 테카르 지체요 마리 쉐라 렌 디터 수수 게인드 담바니 세고에로 교고 좀 마리 렌 노르네 케요 마리 렌 틱나에 케요 마리 아니 인서 바 니 나와델라 고네 인터뷰 디 세고에로 교고 좀 마리 인터뷰 레디 인지미치 렌바데 니 켜조 베전 쇼 쉐라 인터뷰 레나 캡사마도 심바 케요 마리 제라 넥스트 나중에 다디 슬라이드 보라 리서치 갈 때요 아니 온디다 리서치 라디 계시 뭐 가지면디 말아도 상매 하고 이래라 아주 단다 다 말아도 숨기다 단다 시에서 상만 알아도 니마 리서치 진행 하고 하지 이제 좀 많이 리서치 니 오늘라 하장이 계시 뭐 제도 가 잘라간 그랬지만 미제나 간대지메 독십시에디 하장이 계시 뭐래 제상 리서치 라디 오늘라 하장이 계시 뭐 쉬어라 아니 오케이 아니 next slide the draw ina this 공용부로 지어셔라 아니 그저 카운트도 니라치 아니 제티 지워드려야 하는 컵도 챗나 로로나 this 공용부로 체이더라 types of application 아주 college application 단자 따셔야 common app 나로라 간데 쇼에메 이네 지단 나가면 더 숨을 쉬어라 니슈게다 니 어디 쉬어야 early decision early action and regular decision 니 early decision 라디다 망셔다 칼로레 ता 니 शेवायना early decision ला केसो किराई early decision ला खादे जिरेलना निशु केदान 쇼라 온디 केसी किरागी निशु early decision 뇌니 돌업 될 निशु 지겨와이나 인지 미지켜라 도고야로 쉐요 केसी किरा 더 돌업 쉐바지레 추에네 그 드야 말에 인지 미지 early decision 지조지다 니슈 개사지 돌업 지어라 onde linji mi do shwera ani early decision la thema se khar chagen yo lawa na ani deadline jigora namgyu regular da maimba ni tisnga thaler chida chukchi ga thejik de ni namgyu early decision sangma ji da deadline do chaidora ni chida chukchi thejik ga ji deadline di sama ani teda tapti ne decision de ani chida chungni ji and yamena chida thangbo nalo le sama ni kira khala wara ta tisik decision di regular decision la nyam do kebar tyo mai na ani tis decision dingel tyo re shera 아니 ngazo namgyu ne khala wala na kisi kyora early decision de chiwa ina hinji mi kyora gi ta top choice chigla ni china yakbor shwe kaila na ta jema kyora tsuba ene jema khala ore gyoba me gyosta ani jema khala ore nyomnang ke me go ji tolop shi goje zama ni hinji mi early decision de kyora kisi chiwa ina ni hinji mi da so ji top choice college del china yakbor shwe ra ni early decision 2 le aje yore shwe ra di kyora zo diga na tegar 똑십 제와나 하고 그래 이 산다 도도 시어는 early decision 2라디 지과지가 예수 계단 지그래 이네 계속 결혼도 추바에는 hin지미지 도래 이네 켜 거를라나 비 데드라인 디 지다 축지를 많이 받체 지다 당보다 니와 바랄라 대바랄 데드라인 디요려 아니 대다 답티네 지과지가 계시 지다 축지다 중이 바라 기 데드라인 디요나 아니 decision 디 마치 더 에프릴 디졸라 트웬수레 지다 숨바 시어 바랄 ni only lai niwa de early action le the early action le the pe kala flexible so ro juriyo ni shu ga ta early action le di kesi kira te bai na early decision jam do kesi kebar ji jar bai na gari ji ba le na ko ni ga ji deadline ji gara only chin da chuk ji ge che thang bol re chin da chuk ji ge che thang bol yo ma se ji ga ji ga decision de ani chin da chuk ni ya me na chin thang bol na ten si re kesi regular decision da jam do te bai na kesi kyun so pull-up 지가 early action 거네 민슈지 겨와나 추바이나 인지미지 도고 겹기 말이 그런 pull-up delay 야직 계시 early action 지가 계시 그런게 pull-up 지가 early action 지래 이니 pull-up 셔마지를 regular decision 지네 regular decision 들 추바이나 early action 거지다 pull-up 들 drain mail and layer 쉐라 니 layer 마찬 그런 regular decision 거지다 로파 야들 아니 돼야 거지 고갑도 지어 제가 아니 early action 디 하장 기타디 flexible 소로 유즈 뭐 아주 망체 할라올라나 기티케라도다 뒤저다 아니 제마 college app 듀레마 야면 게레마 고추 이제 제마 마홍바 진짜 숨바 쉬와 야면나 진짜 당번이어 되어 먹어야나 아니 early action 라디 체디 다 망체와다 recommend 시레 마라도 차승바이나 early action 치메도 zamani 진 당번이어 되어 하장 기타 college 망보질라 디치우 총스라 칼라오레 college doing 게 인델다 니마직 나로라 차당 치고야도 이내 내당로 차스라 니 가장 stressful 포르야디 아니 지바지가 early action tool 아니 college 카시기 디에 디켜나도 리서치 개침보래 아니 single choice EA single choice EA라나 그래서 톨롭 계속 single choice EA agreement 디케서 괜찮게 사인 치바이나 아니 early action college 그래서 찍라마 쉐마 지바지가 early decision 라디 early decision di kandeji simbaine kira follow chik lama cheya mario early decision de follow ni sumdo cheya ma kailana chubaina keso injimiji dogo yosa bani early decision de di kira zo follow chik lama chijo mare ani ta wodi follow so early decision agreement na nyorio no de la kira zo ta tenda de injimiji kyong oshe di kese chido yo aina ani sumba di regular decision chedo regular decision la di ta the most common form of common college application re 아니 디 지바지가 계시 추바이나 college 톨롭직라 레귤러 디시는 추어이나 인지미 도고에 겹기 말에 아니 ED2 답되네 데드라인 디 진다 상보 맨나 진등이요 바라더래 아니 지바지가 데려 답되네 디시션 디 진다 숨바 맨나 진다 쉬워 진다 쉬베 세 쉬버다 인지미 질레서 로즈레 아니 그라 레귤러 디시션 라디 college 가주 막마라 지내 두고래 아니 college 차장 어리가지 톨롭 강자 레귤러 디시션 라디 랭고 쉐라 니 이 early action 라디 톨롭 카시기 랭고 말에 세상 교조 디 그래 research share 개침보래 아니 다저곤 칼랑에 토스나 아니 college 카시 la type of application to in the 교고 좀 말에 베나사스나 베리아 college 도인 바이나 콘솔라 type of application 교고 좀 말에 콘솔 지다 college application 디 견조 상마 견조에다 자기 상마 진짜 쪽지기 세직 뉘라 떼서 줘요 먼저 뭐 콘솔라 type of application 도 교고 좀 말에 아니 카시 financial aid application 란다 로가 쇼라 원 디에다 deadline the tune요 college la nyam도 사서 주고요라니 휴요래 아니 혼디 그저 research education 그저 그런 financial aid application 가 독티 요아나니 상의가 지레된들 인지미 지페로나 쉐라 상의디 하장이 계정무체도 믹세 financial aid 가 이제 좀많이 하장이 계정무체도 아니 디저 숨레 아니 티워로에나니 뭐냐오라 chat na loro nang khaila nang arai thangbo tin chu jam tam batis konyo pu chongsra ani next slide dela okay so the college application ka ji timeline do jure da kenjo the logic la te ba na ani college ka ji admission college ka ji application process te khande ju me tyen chi doryo 진짜 뒷반에 지내니 진짜 쉬어 버가 지 때요래 단대다 아주 차선 단다 진짜 뒷바라 진짜 뒷발라 인도 좀 받다 계시 단다 레센디 처어데 계속 결혼도 어리 톨업라다 좀좀 지도요나 아니 it's time to get cracking on your research share college list 단다 네스에 디 하장이 계신보를 진짜 뒷반 알로라 college list 다디 세당 로지는 나랑 같이 지내는 구글 시트라 제가 온라인도 구글 시트 나올라 인지 college 교랑 기타 preference 했다니 college 당번에 안기 주어버 D3 college 가절 apply చేయని only D3 ता 안기 당번에 아림 가절이네 니 대단념도 document खर गोयमे financial aid form खर गोयमे deadline खजुइमे 제마세 TOEFL 도 खजे गोयमे SAT flexible 이메 차단디 제 하장 계정모 삼기더라 아니 그저 인지미지 진짜 뒤만 나올라 아니 common app 라디다 common app 가 내가 제 하장이 계정모 쉐이 아니 믹스의 personal statement 디글레 이슈 어터 personal statement 디갈란 타다 강을 가려래 as early as possible 딜레가 디치나 하장이 계정모 쉐이 아니 노벰버라 EG and EA deadlines 라들리레 계속해서 뒤쪽 요아이나 EG 더 EA 체이나 노벰버 1디 어리 차당하지다 데드라인도 셔요 니 이내 근저 디디서바 common app 가 레아 강투도 제디 하장이 계정부 체도 테마세 personal statement 디가라 야제 하장이 계정부 체도 mid December라 EA 라 ED 같이 다 추메디 계속 하고요 이내 ED 진이 계속해서 추바이나 아니 college sheba zolada kira apply chi begodu tamba ani dita didu kira thor kharo tholebla chusa ro re ta geje gyane gya ani ea kisi chubaina ani khalore kira ki the safety college ora dinzo tis ta yameta ani college ya dinzo la ani apply che kaji ta chuju jindu tamba ani common abla da hiji da chuso samne madya che supplemental essay zo ti common abla la che ani personal statement di la che di 내가 제대 하장 계정 보통 것도 January 야면은 February 기마 되어라 regular decision 같이 application 같이 deadline 제 어디 가다 아니 디지 좀바다 교란도 다 차상지 사서 줘다 교란 돌로 가줄라 니슈 개에네 다 차상지다 진짜 당보면 진짜 니어 para 사서 줘셔라 니 February the early March 기마라다 interview slot 된저 고피리요 혼자 아니 계속해라 ED다 EA로 진행하는 아니 인터뷰 슬롯 등열로 용시를 그래서 이메일 디타에 개침부에 야면에 그래서 RD 진행하는 February the early March 라니 인터뷰 슬롯 된저 고피래 아니 인터뷰 인저다 그래서 랜디 하장 개침부에 아니 다음에 다저들라 아니 late March 다 아니 April 진짜 쉬어도 숨어봐라는 그러죠 decision the admission offer 저 레디 좀 아니 아니 그나저다 college 거 도에메 아니 college 거 순에다 거 도에메 아니 수수다 답dü니 아니 다디 개체 보통 거더라 아니 진짜 두바 진짜 나와 야면나 두바 바로 아니 그나저다 디사 치도 좋다 게 취에나 college 거 도에메요 니 언디 다 타임라인 디 인데 로지레요 아니 독지도요는 아주 좀 술게 지내두고 쉬어이 아니 yeah I think that's it okay Anita okay so ingena shudu achira so now we will be discussing a very big stereotype that has been like surrounded in our Tibetan community for a while and that very big stereotype is are Ivy League colleges the only college you should aim for when we talk about US colleges 되게나 쉬워한다 알아줘다 치게를 로전 시에레 쉬워하는 어린아 로전 쉬워하는 타마 이따 칸나로 할로레 Harvard Yale Stanford 인데로레다 디 개침보 이메 임바다 이메 골라는 거죠 시에라 니 원디 다 나랑 너네 삼로지 땅 와이나 undergraduate program 디 어디 가서 라더니 찬점도 통거도요. college 가대지 바이네. 개체주의 수수의 리서치 애들이 아니 ngara cha chamba na ni college liberal art team ba ma se na lo la science department de hajang gi shukcham bo je ma ni ngara hon de do chira ni te ma se acceptance rate ta changmal ta ne ni ngara nga jita tholop de ngara ki ta finally nga de drain yi la ne ta research shi sa ba ni nga de sa ma ngono ra ivy league la di ngone inde kechum bo thong ma so chunga yak shi ba che ni Ivy League la di main ba ni early la college dile ya ro da dile ya da xue mi ne de da chanyom ro da de ma se early na lo la da tholop ya ri ya de hajang mo khang de yo an che da ani kyan zu da tholop gang mang mang ko la ni ha ko ya da ni tholop khala re 강 망모 털 리서치 하장에 개점 보통 거더라 어리 na lo la Ivy League colleges 식보 좀 말해 대마세 college 하장기 망보에서 많이 어디다 니 stereotype 디 하장기 족소 통고도 알아 페파치서 나로라 근데 알아 지금 share 니 제티 겐세다 디기 디칸라 디 share 나
Yarphel ya ku questions share ra ne ye number kya na ta arina the Ivy League la the khwan tu gita khare ta Semurik da Diki club to the tournament to the league to Chetan Ming test Tagora on the Lobra Hachishim Turgora in a Chetan the D to in a Diki in a Lobra Ivy League Yapon and Yapo Yura Kitty on the Pebble to Niship in a Tunata Yashura and a Titana she Arina Diran Chanyam Demo Lobra on the Koma Yura the paper Harvard MIT they must over Chezani Karikichem Bolana Kangi Yamship Kajichoana Lobter Chili any Chanube Apush any Danashi on the bench and a Gana the Lobter being Koma you has a Lobter Sibinashi Apudo Chedan so the Carson Yamshi Apuche and Suzu Lobter the Dewa Gigani the Lobter department Yapona any Kiko Yomara MIT in Harvard look no right Chiporo the Ming this Kayan Chindangi Kebaketum Chetani Suzuki co-op Kora and the co-op right the Kitchen Mato co-op the engine Diku Chambo Gua and Nedayamara co-op right the Kitchen
nga ni samsu kharo islana ni nga ine ni thangbo college apply chiri yomna ni nga counseling yom de ge mang bu shira ni nge counselor ki kharo song stroina ni Ivy League colleges ni the college also paper just like get a college Harvard Yale Emory Stanford MIT on the get a shisho do in gira ya nga bi thangbo ni la ni college the Ivy League college apply chiu something ni yomra ni counselor ki kharo song stroina Ivy League colleges 망보실라 또 창마 말이니 Ivy League college 망보실라 이네래 아니 university 깨라차차 망보나 아니 진다나라 롭투이나야 말아 진다 찍나 롭투 망아요래 비가라 아니 게라 창마 소소 fields 가지 top expert 인조인디 아니 소소 코란 소소 아지 research 요래 아니 창마 온디다 소소 가지 빼 게라 인조이네래 아니 롭투 망보요래 냠도 소소 가지 research 상마라 빼 focus 이디 아니 gela da pu para relationship inere on so basic da sosongene be effort manuna ani relationship yakpo ji yunga kal khagayo re la ni sosra andi ma sengem do ani Ivy League college mangbo silai re pugu pe mangbo yore indi gala ani da soso da pugu dinde yakpo kyang le re college mangchela acceptance rate 654 do ingire ani pugu yakpo kyang le tu ani sosongene ani da ya soso da top 진다하지 top 이니레 직소소 지에 줘야 되라 아니 베 인데 엑셀 지네 아니 아칼라 진다나는 약수인데 카이니다 온도 제레다 창마 딘데 장냐 민두야 온데 깔레 카요라야 제스타니 봉안조 망보시가 안조 망보시라 아니 career 나니 요마라 안조 지 undergraduate le postgraduate 가지디 postgraduate laptop holiday में दिखे छे छाओरा ये ना postgraduate la apply छिदी करा ये ने activity बिजो list छोरे करा तम बिजो छोरे गेला गाजी recommendation letter कोरे अनि सोसो थांगोने undergraduate लोग तो याक पचिकला छुने सोसो ने FT तो सोसो top excel छिदो ना ता याक शेरे ये ना सोसो इंदे छिमा तो नि जिना ना ला ता जिना पु गंग ता याक पु ये अनि 그러다 온디네 the things you want any average logic how ina and so gelang the recommendation letter ya pomena ani kura postgraduate level apply chidu masters in a professional degree apply chidu so an kura ga application basics for chisi raya and chesa ani the factors mangbush so mi changmala so apply chidu specific law yore ini ani so college qual apply chidu ini re ani hondi ko lan samot pangadi big chisi mo chai raya ani nganzo pheba jiso nala ani college kola awareness being new college options kaga yume kola and awareness being new de ani nganzo thangila la hi khari ne so khar chiwa shini college qual apply chingi thoine re ari the college apply chingi re sa qual ne college to apply to do and so ne be research in depth to go de ani big kitchen board sha ani nganzo tharingi presentation on ni the one big lesson chisha de in if you could take one thing from a presentation that would be 수수님이 아니 가디네 수수님이 volunteer initiative 아니 research hero 지란 쉐. 아니 먼저 Sontsa initiative 가지 아니 membership 마 망부 join 치자 아니 수수 코란 중이네 아니 수수님이 다한다 topic 인으로네 아니 opinions 나 share church 아니 메나 아니 I think 먼저 question answer session 라 move on 지나.
Last chedan the slide the joyana theotilena kharchilana and the reaction button la wata wana ani raise hand like button to lapaya gas to ichona to unmute chene thoku chura ani yamena chat nawo la thode lona ni lenge ro condition ti do ani comment choose join thing la thotine chin shwe
maybe 니네 뒤와 가시시다 하는 chat nangla 어디 거라 아니 렌도 자이나 춘좀 라이다 아니 야 피기 링게 고투다 주샤 yeah while we wait maybe we could attend to those.
tanda surab like thoa kharkut lana tanda dream chingi by doctor kyagala shu de tanda SAT the ACT kharina ta ikse de kharku chene tamyo na ni chigelo ni shu puchu ta di thola ni tanda mena digilagi presentation asnu so thalo na de danyulo na de thalo khyaso da khare khebe na injimiji SAT the SAT kumar ra iti sudu initial la shu pen thoina ma to chenda kheben josna thalo SAT the ACT college tholo ma che optional so da cheda ni sudu gi doba che sudu kiti jidangi sudu ikte gaja ge ni lopta ge ni gajan jo shira pen to mena ni SAT na do de chenda ani sudu dali da to da kheben na jim SAT ma kana na 많이 슈퍼도 들라 dobra khashala injim ge SAT pure chedan digi keben chance shona talodinde chedani di keben de pejitana ani ketan reshwe
On tingila ani question interesting to hello, I'm about to start my first year in mid-September, but I saw the admission date in India and US is a bit different. Should I take a gap year or go in the Indian college and do a parallel admission in the US? What do you think of that? I think personally, we all would have different opinions about this. If you're first year in Indian college, if you're starting this September, I think it would do you good to just go on and attend the college, but do a parallel admission in the US if you, I don't know, maybe have a second plan B kind of. But what do you guys think?
I know some of my friends from other schools in India. Like the thing is, usually like for Indian colleges, like you get into school by, let's say, by August you are already studying, or maybe even earlier, depends on your school. But I think generally like uh, I know like applying to Indian colleges had before it was more like a hustle than like an actual like formal application process. So in that respect, I cannot say much, but what I've known is some people, when they were actually applying to certain schools, they were also concurrently applying to U.S. colleges. And for that, you need commitment and you need motivation. If you have the motivation, I think you can find ways to do it. And I know some people that who has taken gap year for another purpose, and for that opportunity, they have taken it to apply to schools in the U.S. But I'm not here to endorse gap years here. So it depends on your circumstances. But most important is if your willingness to apply, and then I think if you have the motivation, I think you can sort out a time for yourself.
Yeah, I don't think I have to answer. I think these two were probably a good answer. 지와 신바지도 델강 슈스나 아니 I'm currently a third year like in third year doing my bachelor's. So if we can use Common App as a way to apply for master's degree US or like postgraduate. So for that, I think yesterday they already answered, but as far as we know, Common App is a platform mainly for high school students, and mainly for to apply for undergraduate program. But research on the college's website about how to apply for your master's degree or for a postgraduate program. Yeah.
Yeah, chua yuna apa kana digre chat box na luna digre kharap jante bachiro ine chua ina mutne ine chua kuru chikana thala chua mangpo digi ka mangpo chi thoti chitu so.
There is one question. In Lesha, university website member ani shimba ani university chikola research khade chore ani research chidu ani aspects kashi consider che khar do lesha ani ngin ngara khar pang shi pen to show ani uni pheba bu ani university rang la alumni in the due che la ya ena session ani nga do cha sha ani 당문이라 한당 먼저 순자 멤버시네레 이네 아니 셴바지 비오레 로커 멘토십 아니 온디 이네레 멤버스 롭다 거할도 온다 아니 수승이니다 온디 이네레 아니 셴바 수승이네 거하니 세어이네 아니 별바 부니네 롭다디랑 롭좀 지니 되었다 온정염도 기지 세어이네레 인지미젠 별바에 고마레 아니 수승이네 if you can reach out to people who are already studying in that university, then that helps a lot because you get more of a personal opinion on how the university works, how they've been dealing with all the special programs that the university might offer. And another thing that also helps is if you just email the admission officers or you email the contact emails given on the website. And if you have specific questions, they will also most probably reply to you and give you more depth into the information that you need.
I see a question here. I'm not sure. I think it's from Tenzin. I don't know which Tenzin is that, but the question seems to suggest that how like I think like the answer for that is like I haven't seen people really physically send a recommendation letter and get that from school. I think now like electronic like PDF are widely accepted. So as long as you have your counselors or your teachers like electronic signature, I don't see much of an issue. But of course, I think when you apply to certain school, they will be very specific about how that would be. So I don't think that should be a big issue at all.
Yeah, and also on Common App, some colleges require you to have a peer recommender, like a peer recommendation. That's basically your best friend or I don't know your roommate to recommend you for the college. So basically for that you just have to write the email of the one who's going to do your recommendation, and basically they will have to make a common app profile, and then they just have to write the recommendations there.
무슨 좋아요. 좋은 number now.
Oh,
There's
okay. I think I missed one important detail in my presentation. So ED early decision last near binding relasa because you can just two and injimiji door lasa the exception yurida kasha and kisikura kisi eating in the local two and the kisikura to the financial need the meoina called the financial support team in a kira the shungi chambo and only by the means of a financial constraint your ED agreement pact can be broken down or it can be resolved. Do you want the lawsuits?
단다 티와 Tenzin 라이디 카르나나 아니 단다 진짜 죽지라 아니 또베 저 겨고랑 야라 아니 제가 아니 하르슐라나 때 카운터 저게 되니 recommendation letter still lena ya por studio nige nye subject kyang gela counselor su ya motion ge na dile di gune nye shu recommendation letter yana rana ya kana gela de motion ani ma the yu de ni di pendon ma 지단계 college 인식 필요 counselor 찍이나 약보다 본도 가는 counselor 찍이 경향에 내당 고야가 추유되니 counselor 망고치네 그냥 다가서 강에 태워 그래 아 내가 대신 요거 차이기 그냥 게임으로 차좀 또도 그냥 gelast 뭐 그거야 보시도 얘를 디기는 인식 그래 recommendation letter 주
Okay, dingle chiwajidu chiwadi khalas nani kesikyoran the college chigne undergraduate program di chiba na ni jema postgraduate program la college tirang la tuya ka scope ya responsa tade chala ni ara to shas ba na diga kalore letera ngana tana undergraduate and postgraduate ko la samlo shara tam me shwe kisi kente da di on ha ko na ni on this scope ya lo ko la
I think it's do you want to go first?
no you can go.
Okay. I think it's very specific to the colleges that you're talking about. So like some colleges, there is a better scope if you're getting accepted into their postgraduate school if you have done undergraduate there. But I think universities will say it's often mentioned on their websites like that they do not give an advantage to an applicant just because they've studied in undergraduate. Benessana ani kran law school do la pai china la pai jigaji ani kran da applicant sheba ji gyo roshina ani applicant kran ni lapta dirang ga university dirang de ji undergraduate la lapchong chiyo tara nina ya ani khele applicant sheba ya ga ji na applicant sheba de la experiences in area exposure internship ni sheba ji ya ga chiyo na, and even if they haven't gone to that same school they will obviously prefer the other applicant. So kran any injimiji I mean, I guess my final answer would be it could be in some schools, but also that is very obviously not going to be the focus point of your application. It's more going to be how you present yourselves, your essays, your activities that you've done and all of that. Yeah.
찍라데 좀 처음부터나 주어가 SAT 가리 이메로 제가 먼저 나닝로 지내네 또 student에게 자기가 귤라 자기가 강라네 SAT 거다 college system 지당 자기요 지내 웨비나에 소요래 저기 자기나 아니 리소스를 컴파일 치어가 제가 또 인스타그램 바이오나 따오나 선제 웹사이트 나타 아니 이 균은 그냥이 아 냠시 제일 펜도르섬도요 아니 딜라 저 하셔야 태가랑 또 레시다 다음도네 선이 저기 아니 롱이 로브레로 그냥 로브레 니슈프도 롱이 한데 라이 콜라니 아 이시 게르셔요 아니 튀어놈베나 저 타마니 숨지 내나마도 저 마체다 자기 레시다 태가 되면 이게 먹고 차이도 있어요 텐즈 푸들라기 저어다 지다 아무도 레시다 땡 조시다 저 믹스다 민도이네 평기 수도 내단데 직세워 슈나니 또 땡게도 시니 치단기 기지경 로브라 아리 톨로브라 탄된 dobjon cheshewena ani ka ari dobra student visa thon lewena ji kyo matungene ni student visa di zoyena ani gone get the apply che lobra ro pa chen chi re kana na kyo gi ta kyo I20 la ri che de how gu process I20 the I20 de dom me de ni kyo just ni shu phu re Tenzin ji ki thyo de kya tholop la cut off ta ani pebble reserve seat ro Diki kya la the du ro na system dro she ta re ari chola ande ta color ari gi ta tholo ma chi gi ta kon model na equitable access le da and miri dam under thamala ni ho pra lo che the equality the equity and the debate shukshum bore ta ne kyangi kitu to gi khando to ya pote na kya mission na she kya lo bra de la che gi khop pa re shwe 아니 디첼라 아니 쿠데나게 저디 기지 저거네 미겜벨 로브라나 되게 고야 좀 되네 얘기 냠뇽라 얘기 수제 로브라라 로브라 gemba chujo mongbo re kwa so ne 지금 저 중이 전도 배 로청보인데 에 털업 아리 털업 라인이 슈피네 튀겨인데 니즈 몽보여 또 돼서 저기 किसी ठेवा दिले दिस्ठागी है ना तो चला हम तो लाने ईमेल ताना रे इंस्टाग्राम में मैसेज ताना ने हम कि इस मास से तू रिशे ना काको चाहता रे
Yeah, common app na la ni le di colore inje marshera common app na lo kiti kana profile na kya atte wa na ni inje ro ji yor color su su lo ju ani pu ro ke jaro tiyo ni di da seo se ga tung du she ra age limit dimyo ni lobjong la da colore age limit 상마 제대로 쇼라 원진에 Similar, can you name out some universities majoring in business economics? Apparently, I don't know, but make sure to do some research because I intend to do my major in chemistry, so I don't really have any idea.
I know there are a lot of schools offer business like programs so I think you can specifically like search in Google like business schools in the US so you can do that easily and like if you want to major in business then it's a different thing if you're like if you want to go to a grad school in like grad school for business, then I'm not so sure about it. But I would, yeah. So I think that's from my side. Yeah, I think
Did you prepare for the open-ended queries of the interview, Lishra? Ngaran chase by na preparation or the mixte into tingyo la to research ti check chen bore college ti college research ti check chen boda ni college ti kain de to ba ga su ji da khalla go samgyon ju da shuji ga chinani ke chen bo la ta ani won chine 칼라오레다 인데로고라 프리페어로 지나면서 심바 인터뷰로 관리 유명하라 하고 면서 많이 이제 프리퍼레이션 믹서로 교고 좀 말해.
In order to major in economics in a US college, do we need to have math as a subject in 12th grade? I think, as far as I know, 아리가지 털어방체라 아니 록칭하지 requirement이라 요 말이 수수 아리가지 털어방체라 수수년의 major declare 제거라 아니 러림니와 차네 말시 지메디오 아니 requirement 디고일레니 인도 as far as I know 요 말라 이나야 아니 obviously 그라년에 아니 진짜 좀이라 math 레나 아니 록칭 렐하 종이라 그라 털어라 네 but in a tholop kharini arila tholop bene mangboire obviously you're going to have to do your research ani lokta dirangi specifically do they ask for it, do they have specific programs khalna gashina tholop khora lapta la apply ma che program la apply chero lokta gashi yore program la apply che they might have other specific requirements but as far as I know no
yeah nyegi something kallana ta kizikha economics to jaayegi miro na kizikha lobda de la chu ache ne lobda la to do any khangi lobda the economic khangi jaan she do ani jinda angde rangi so da le ngora angde jinda pe chawana ne calculus to na re ani statistic jinda na re ani the angdi la ta algebra do the khrena ta su economic ki department ki requirement khari going so sure did of the ni kiji angting na jaw na credit to chaira to prati ge ni angti the thawal le ki mar kiji angti the lemena ni lewo che ne chuju de stang ora ti khebe ma shi ta tinro kheba de sam ta chua shu yu samare ni ta kamachik kugi ra kiji chua na chua ye na ti mena ani stani lechen la injim je pero che chuju chu ji kya ani stani de pe kichum pore kala na romi de pe kichum pore de romi kola ni khu de presentation pe thakyo yo ra che da ani injim je pero che ani tharing ang tu lechen la ni pe thu chi na shwe ra ani Yarphel ani digila ani thombe ang tu ki chenje ge ni natural ni thong tu la ten de chen dong la da ni pe ma chu de number pe ani thu chi che shwe ra ani number ge ani ke muth ni thwa na Instagram la directly message ta na digre yamena ang tu ki email kyune ni to la ni ang tu ge ni khang tu den ge khang tu ro pa chi shwe
Okay. Also, singing and kind of catching much lanani, singing Garani ni apply chigo, Galopran to Garani apply in any US college la full right kan chigo ani pomo kalore, Marazu mentor chigo ni ta Kerazo talk to Hande and Molatina ni Yaji ni or something. Okay, and thank you everyone. Have a great night.